Hi, my name is Rachel Wheeler, and I recently just read the book An Abundance of Katherines by the wonderful John Green. It's a realistic fiction novel, and I give it a 5 out of 5. Basically, this book is about a boy named Colin Singleton, and Colin has just graduated from high school, and he's also been dumped by his girlfriend named Catherine. And this girlfriend named Catherine, she happens to be the 19th Catherine that Colin has dated. Hence the title, Abundance of Katherines. This guy has had some bad luck with girls, and he has a fetish for Katherines. His friend named Hassan decides that Colin needs to discover himself and just get away from all these Katherines and from relationships, and so they decide to go on a spontaneous road trip. And so they drive out, and they end up in Gutshot, Tennessee, which is a small town, and they meet Lindsay Lee Wells, and they stay with her and her mom Hollis, and they tackle on a project that Hollis gives them, which is going to interview each Gutshot resident. And through those events, they have a lot of fun. They meet new people. Action ensues. So while they're there, Colin decides he has a thing for wanting to matter. And he wants to matter in the world and prove that he has value. He wants that eureka moment, like Einstein discovering something, or Thomas Edison discovering the light bulb. He wants that. He wants to be one of those smart inventors. But instead of inventing something, he decides to, or like an object, he decides to create a theorem which proves if a person can be destined to either be a dumper or a dumpy in a relationship. So he decides to see if like Katherines, all the ones he's been dating, if they've been predestined to be a dumper. I completely recommend this book. It's a light read. It's very fun. John Green typically writes very lighthearted and fun and funny and sarcastic style of writing, very casual. And his other books like The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns and Finding Alaska, they all have the same kind of personality. They very much embodies John Green, who is very funny and very witty. So I was very excited to be able to read An Abundance of Katherines because it's similar to the other books that he's written, and I love reading his books because he infuses humor and just sarcasm. And this book has definitely some moments where you literally laugh out loud. Like, haha, it's funny. No, I actually had to take a moment sometimes and just laugh because they're pretty funny. So, some moments where I thought were hilarious were the character Hassan, which is Colin's only real friend, pretty much, that Colin has ever had, besides Katherines. Katherines don't really count. So Hassan has been with Colin for a long time. So Hassan is very funny, and the way that John describes Hassan is very obese, and Hassan is very fun-loving and doesn't really care what people think about him, and so he makes people laugh, and he's always there to lighten the mood. So he definitely did a great job of that, for the reader. So there's one section that Hassan is just hilarious, and he's giving advice to Colin, because Colin wants to call the previous Catherine, and Hassan thinks that's a horrible idea. And also, one word in this section is when Hassan calls Colin a kafir, which is, I think I'm saying that right, which is a Muslim word for, stupid, like you're really dumb. So, that's what Hassan usually calls Colin, and just kind of like a pet name, but, it's really funny, and and this section is where Colin's about to call Catherine, and they have come up with a code word where if either one of them happen to step over the line and offend the other person, in order to tell them to stop, they came up with a code word of dingleberries. When I first read that, I laughed out loud. So it's really funny, and they use it frequently after they establish that code word. So they're in the car, and Colin's about to call Catherine, and Hassan is telling him to stop, basically. So, I think I'm going to call her. That's the worst idea you've ever had, Hassan replied immediately. The worst idea ever. No, it's not, because what if she's just waiting for me to call like I'm waiting for her to call? Right, but you're the dumpy. Dumpies don't call. You know that, kafir. Dumpies must never call. There's no exception to that rule. None, never call. Never, you can't call. Colin reached into his pocket. Don't do it, dude. You're pulling the pin on a grenade. You're covered in gasoline and the phone is a lit match. Khan flipped over the phone. Dingleberries, he said. Hassan threw up his hands. You can't dingleberry that. That's a flagrant misuse of the dingleberry. I dingleberry you calling her. So it's very funny, and Hassan does a great job of it. That was only one of the very funny moments that John Green writes about in his book. So I completely suggest this book. I recommend it entirely. If you are looking for a great read this summer. And yeah, thanks for watching.